Italy's biodistricts, entire regions going organic. I love the way you've laid out the foundation of the biodistrict concept. It's such a powerful vision for how we can live differently. To keep this going in a conversational deep dive style and to hit that specific length you're looking for, let's expand on the soul of these regions. Think of this as a long-form fireside chat about how Italy is essentially hacking the future by looking at its past. The Italian Biodistretto, a revolution you can taste. Imagine you're sitting in a small piazza in the heart of Cilento. The air doesn't smell like diesel or industrial fertilizers. It smells like wild rosemary, blooming jasmine, and damp, healthy earth. You're not just in a beautiful Italian village, you're inside a living, breathing laboratory of sustainability. In Italy, they call this a biodistretto, biodistrict. While the rest of the world is arguing over carbon credits and industrial regulation, these Italian communities have quietly decided to just opt out of the old system. They aren't waiting for a global treaty to save the planet. They're doing it one valley, one vineyard, and one school lunch at a time. Why organic isn't enough anymore? We've all been conditioned to look for that little organic logo at the supermarket. It makes us feel a bit better about our salad, right? But the Italians realized early on that organic as a mere industrial certification is a bit of a lonely endeavor. Imagine you're an organic farmer. You spend years nurturing your soil, avoiding chemicals, and protecting your bees. But your neighbor 3 fields over decides to spray a heavy cloud of pesticide on a windy day. Suddenly your organic crop is contaminated. Or imagine you grow the most beautiful chemical-free tomatoes in the world, but the local supermarket only buys cheap, mass-produced imports from halfway across the globe. You're forced to ship your tomatoes hundreds of miles away, burning fuel and losing freshness, just to find a buyer who cares. That's the lonely farmer problem. The biodistrict was born to solve it. It's the realization that sustainability is a team sport, the 2004 spark, the Cilento miracle. To really understand how this works, we have to go back to 2004 in a region called Cilento, south of Salerno. This is the land of the Mediterranean diet, literally where the term was popularized. The people there have always lived long, healthy lives, but the modern world was starting to encroach. The local farmers saw their youth leaving for cities and their traditional ways of farming being squeezed out by big ag. Instead of giving up, they formed a pact. They didn't just agree to farm organically. They sat down with the local mayors, the hotel owners, and the school board. They said, what if we all agree that this entire region is organic? What if we make clean and local our entire identity? It worked. It didn't just save the farms, it saved the culture. Today, Cilento is the blueprint for the world. Deep diving into the 4 pillars, the how-to of a region. How do you actually move an entire region's needle? It's not just about good vibes, it's about a very specific structure. Let's break down those 4 pillars we touched on earlier, but with a closer look at the boots on the ground reality. Pillar 1, the farmers, the biological heart. In a biodistrict, the farmer isn't just a food producer, they are a landscape manager. In conventional farming, the goal is yield at all costs. You treat the soil like a sterile factory floor where you add chemicals and extract calories. In a biodistrict, the goal is circularity. Ancient seeds. These farmers are like historians. They hunt down heirloom seed that haven't been modified to withstand industrial shipping. These seeds are naturally adapted to the local climate. They might not look like the perfect plastic-looking tomatoes in a grocery store, but the flavor is like high definition for your taste buds. The soil sponge. By using cover crops, plants grown specifically to protect the soil rather than to be sold, and green manure, they turn the earth into a literal sponge. This is crucial because Italy, like much of the world, is facing more frequent droughts and flash floods. Organic soil holds water significantly better than chemically treated soil, preventing erosion and keeping crops alive during heat waves. Pillar 2. The public administration, the political shield. This is where the magic happens. In most places, the government and the environmentalists are at odds. In a biodistrict, the mayor is usually the biggest cheerleader. When a local government signs onto a biodistrict, they aren't just giving a speech. They change the rules of the game. Green public procurement. Now, this sounds like boring legal speak, but it's a game changer. It means that any food bought with tax dollars for schools, hospitals, or government offices must be organic and local. This creates an instant, reliable market for the farmers. No more worrying about global price fluctuations. A chemical-free zone. They often pass local ordinances that ban the use of synthetic herbicides in public spaces. Imagine walking through a public park where you don't have to worry about your kids or dogs touching treated grass. Bureaucracy busting. They make it easier for small farmers to open farm stays, agriturismi, or sell directly to the public, cutting through the red tape that usually favors big corporations. Pillar 3, the prosumers, the community soul. I love the term prosumer because it flips the script on the passive shopper. In a biodistrict, the citizens are active participants in the farm's success. They use a system called GAS, Gruppi di Acquisto Solidale, or Solidarity Purchasing Groups. It works like this. A group of families gets together and tells a local farmer, we will buy 100 crates of whatever you grow this season every month. This gives the farmer pre-capital. They don't have to take out a high-interest bank loan to buy seeds because the community has already committed the funds. In return, the families get the freshest food possible at a price that isn't inflated by distributors. It's a relationship built on a handshake and mutual respect. Pillar 4, the hospitality sector, the biotourism boom. Let's be honest, Italy is a superstar of tourism, but over-tourism is a real threat to places like Venice or Florence. Biodistricts offer a different path. Slow tourism. When you enter a biodistrict, the tourism board doesn't just point you toward a museum, they point you toward a biodiversity trail. You might stay in a renovated farmhouse where the morning eggs were laid 50 feet from your door, and the soap in your shower is made from the farm's olive oil. This isn't just eco-friendly. It's a premium experience. People are willing to pay a bit more for the peace of mind that their vacation isn't destroying the place they came to see. It turns the entire landscape into a living museum of ecology, the hidden science, why nature is smiling. If we zoom out from the human element, the biological transformation of these regions is staggering, the bee effect. We hear a lot about the bee apocalypse. In industrial farming regions, bee populations are crashing because of neonicotinoids, a type of pesticide. In biodistricts, the bees are thriving. And it's not just about honey. More bees mean better pollination for wild plants, which leads to more berries and seeds, which leads to more birds and small mammals. By fixing the soil and removing the poison, you trigger trophic cascade of life returning to the region, the water connection. Think about your local river. In many agricultural areas, that water is full of nitrates and phosphates from synthetic fertilizers. This causes algal arboi blooms that kill fish and make the water toxic. And in a biodistrict, the soil acts as a natural filter because the farmers use compost and natural fertilizers. The nutrients stay in the dirt where they belong, rather than washing into the streams. For the local town, this means their water treatment costs go down. It's a perfect example of how environmental health and financial health are the same thing. The economics of small is beautiful. Critics often say organic can't feed the world or it's too expensive. The Italian biodistricts are proving them wrong by changing the definition of cost. When you buy a cheap industrial tomato, the price tag doesn't include the cost of cleaning the pesticides out of the water, the healthcare costs of farmers exposed to chemicals, the carbon cost of shipping that tomato 2,000 miles, the loss of local jobs. In a biodistrict, all those hidden costs are eliminated. The money stays in the pocket of the guy who lives down the street. That guy then spends his money at the local hardware store or the local cafe. This is called the economic multiplier effect. €1 spent in a bio-district can circulate through the local economy 7 or 8 times before it leaves the region. Additionally, these districts are creating a new brand Italy. In a world of mass-produced junk, authenticity is the most valuable currency. By labeling an entire region as a bio-district, they are creating a geographical brand that is impossible to replicate in a factory. The global ripple from Italy to the world. Italy isn't keeping this a secret. They've helped form the Global Alliance for Organic Districts, GAOD. Think about it. The problems Italy faced, rural depopulation, soil degradation, and the loss of local culture, are the same problems facing farmers in Iowa or regions in France or mountainous areas in Japan. The biodistrict model is a plug-and-play framework. You don't need a billion-dollar tech startup to do this. You just need a group of people who are willing to sit in a room and agree that their shared environment is more important than their individual short-term profits. The challenges, let's be real, it's not all easy. One of the biggest hurdles is the transition period. When a farm goes from chemical to organic, the yield often drops for the first 2 to 3 years while the soil recovers its natural biology. This is the valley of death for many farmers. This is where the biodistrict shines. Because the whole community is involved, the local government or the solidarity purchasing groups can help subsidize the farmer during those lean years. They see it as an investment in the future of their home. The other challenge is generational renewal. And let's face it, farming is hard work. But in biodistricts, we're seeing something amazing. Young people are moving back to the countryside. They aren't moving back to be peasants. They're moving back to be entrepreneurs, ecologists, and chefs. They see that being part of a biodistrict is a modern, high-status career that actually means something. How you can bring the biodistrict spirit home. You might not live in a rolling Italian hillside, but the philosophy of the Biodistretto is universal. It's about shortening the distance between you and your life support systems. Look for your local gas. See if there's a community-supported agriculture CSA program near you. Talk to your local representatives. Ask why your local schools aren't sourcing food from nearby organic farms. Vote with your fork. Every time you choose a local chemical-free product, you're casting a vote for a biodistrict future. Final thoughts. The Italian biodistricts are a beautiful reminder that we aren't just consumers in a global market. We are members of a local ecosystem. By choosing to link our economy to the health of our soil, we aren't just protecting nature, we're protecting ourselves. It's about making sure that when our grandchildren sit in that same Italian piazza 50 years from now, the air still smells like rosemary, the water is still clear, and the community is still thriving.